Welcome fans of Fate Grand Order, I am Avon, you are watching FGO Tips, and today we're talking about the Chaldea Summer Memory Revival, specifically farming this summer rerun. We covered the general event details in the last video, so definitely check that out if you haven't, because right now it's straight to the farming. The event is broken into two parts, but they both work pretty similarly, so we should be able to cover both in this guide. Each will come with 5 different resource types, and for part 1 we're farming food, water, lumber, stone, and iron. Do yourself a favor by snagging the Summertime Mistress CE from the event shop as early as possible to boost drops for food and water. The 3, 4, and 5-star CEs on the banner will boost drops for lumber, stone, and iron respectively. They also boost drops for the materials in part 2, so rolling early basically pays off twice. The 3-star Shiny Goddess is also available on the Friend Point banner, so don't miss out on that one. Every servant in the game will provide a boost to one specific drop type, but unlike the original Chaldea Summer Memory event, we don't get a useful mix of classes for each one. This time, the bonus is based on servant class, which limits our farming options a bit. So let's start with food. Farming food early in the event should take you to the beach. The Summertime Mistress CE will help, and don't forget to bring your berserkers and rulers to boost food drops. For now, it's all sabers you'll be up against. In the lower difficulties, there is no boss, so AoE NPs are best. Everyone who played through that last Guda Guda event should have a great option in Cha-Cha here. 5-star Raiko works as well, and 4-stars like Lancelot and Cat can also get the job done. If you are lacking gold berserkers, Kiyohime is my favorite choice for 3-star here. Ruler options are limited, but Amakusa is good for an AoE Noble Phantasm as well. In the expert and higher stages, there is a single saber boss with higher HP than the others, so start taking one of your single target Noble Phantasm servants for that fight. Kualter, Herc, and Martha are my favorite choices, just to name a few. When it comes to 3-stars, Lubu is my go-to. It's also worth noting that this boss is a demonic type enemy, which means Raiko's 3rd skill lets her deal an additional 50% damage against it. Even with an AoE NP, that's pretty hefty damage. If you're still having trouble and need support, berserkers like Nightingale and rulers like Jean can help out with your defensive game. After you complete the first 10 projects and clear chapter 5 in the main story, you gain access to an even better place to farm food, the Primeval Forest. Enemies here are all berserkers in the early rounds and a single assassin in the final fight. You can use the same setup as before, a party with 2 wave clearing NPs and a strong single target NP to finish off the boss. Once again, the final boss is a demonic type enemy, so don't be afraid to let Raiko cut loose. Next up is water, which means we're back to the beach. The Summertime Mistress CEs still help, but now we get to bring archers, shielders, and casters too, making this one of the easiest to farm in the whole event. I'm sure you don't need me to list all of the archers for you, just bring the best you have. If you're looking for easy options that almost anyone should have, Nobunaga from the first Guda Guda event and my favorite 1-star, Arash, are both great wave clearers. Chloe from the Prisma Causeway event is a good single target boss killer and even has her own NP charging skill. You can even try 3-star Tawara, whose NP will do extra damage to demonic enemies like the final boss here. There's plenty of options for caster support too, like Waver, Tamamo, and Merlin, and you can even bring Mosh if you need help with your defense. These are just a few of the many options you have for farming water at the beach, so don't be afraid to bring your best archers and casters even if they aren't on this list. I don't expect anyone to have too much trouble here. Lumber in the jungle isn't going to be too tough either. Bring your Shiny Goddess and Shaved Ice CEs along with Lancers and Avengers. Last year, the jungle was filled with sabers and archers, which made it risky to bring a lancer. This year, they have generously cleared out the sabers for us, making this a much more straightforward fight against archers. The higher difficulty variants are still going to pit us against a tough berserker boss in the final wave. AoE servants can help clear the weak archers, and there are plenty of strong AoE lancers to pick from. Bring your best, whoever they may be. Anyone who played through the Little Santa Altar event should have a Jean Altar Lily as a good option here. AoE Avengers like Dantes and Gorgon do pretty well even without class advantage. When it comes to fighting the Berserker at the end, you can use a powerful single target Lancer like Bryn or Skahak, or a powerful single target Avenger like Jalter or the Avenger of Shinjuku. If you're looking for a 3-star pick, you can even try Ku Prototype. The Berserker here is a beast type enemy, and Proto Ku's 3rd skill provides bonus damage against beasts. Next up, we're heading to the grasslands to farm stone. Bring your Twilight Memory and Meat Wars CEs, along with Saber, Assassin, and Alter Ego servants. Just like the jungle, all of the Saber enemies from last year have been cleared out. This time it's mostly riders we'll be fighting, with a tough Lancer at the end. Alter Egos will deal an additional 50% damage to the riders, so bring Melt, Passion, or Kiara if you want to. Just remember that they'll do 50% less to the Lancer at the end. Assassins are an even better way to deal with the riders. If you played through the event last year, Summer Skahak is perfect for this. So are Cleopatra and Shuten. If you need a 3-star suggestion, Fuma gets the job done pretty well. Taking down the final boss should be easy, as the game gives us many options for Saber servants with a single target Noble Phantasm. Since this Lancer is a demonic type enemy, you should definitely consider Rama for his NP that does bonus damage against demons. Okita, Bride Nero, and Musashi are just a few of the other options. Don't be afraid to bring whoever your best Saber is, there's plenty of great options outside of this list. Finally, we wrap up part 1 with iron farming in the caverns. Bring your Pirates Party and Knights of Marine CEs, along with Riders and Moon Cancers. We're up against mostly Berserkers here with a tough Archer boss in the final wave. This Archer is a demonic enemy, but that doesn't help us with the servants we have available at this time, and since none of them provide any class advantage, you can bring BB and almost any Rider you want. Just be sure you bring a party that can handle all the damage from multiple waves of Berserkers. But we're just getting started, because about halfway through the event, part 2 will unlock, and we'll need to start farming oil, cement, Rialta alloy, Iadrum alloy, and Ishka alloy. First priority though should be the Chaldea Lifesaver CE from the event shop, which will boost drops for both oil and cement. If you still have quartz to spend, you can pick up 3 more CEs on the banner to boost the alloys as well. But don't forget, the CEs from the banner in part 1 also help here. When you're ready to start farming oil, head to the reconstructed city with your Chaldea Lifesaver CEs and your best team of Sabers, Assassins, and Shielders. All of the weaker enemies here are Archers. In the 2nd and 3rd highest difficulty, there's a tough Rider in the 3rd wave. In the highest difficulty, there's a strong Rider and an even stronger Archer in the final wave. Sabers are basically a no-go in most cases, so try to bring Assassins if you can. Summer Skahak, Cleopatra, Shuten, and Fuma can help clear waves with AoE Noble Phantasms, even though they don't have class advantage. The toughest part will be facing Tesla in the end, so bring your strongest single target assassin for the task. Stheno has useful skills that target male enemies, but isn't the best for damage unfortunately. You can also bring Mosh if you need an extra defensive boost. With that mess out of the way, head to the coast to farm cement, and bring your Lancers, Berserkers, and Rulers this time. You'll be fighting mostly Lancers, with a strong Berserker in the final wave. This Berserker is a Divine type servant, which means you have a few options here. Skahak is my top choice, as her 3rd skill provides up to 100% bonus damage against the Divine. And Kidu has an NP that stuns Divine enemies, but more damage is generally better in a farming run. We're trying to get these done as fast as possible. Consider AoE Berserkers like Raiko, Cha-Cha, Lancelot, and Kat to clear the early rounds quickly. Rulers will take less damage from the Lancers, so bring anyone you can if you're looking for some extra defense. Jean, of course, is the most defensive of them all. Next up is Rialta Alloy at the Ruins. Bring your Shaved Ice and Shiny Goddess CEs, along with Archer and Moon Cancer class servants. We finally caught a break here, because most of the enemies are going to be Sabers. There's also a tough Berserker near the end. In the highest difficulty variant, there is a strong Berserker and an even stronger Avenger in the final wave. I hope you made it through the Seraph event, because BB is the perfect weapon to use against that Avenger. The other Sabers are best handled with AoE Archers if you can. I'm going to list Nobunaga and Arash as easily available to masters who don't have much luck with their Saint Quartz, but there are plenty of other options, so use whoever you have. When you're ready to farm Iadrum, head to the Underground Factory along with your Meat Wars and Twilight Memory CEs. You want to bring Casters and Alter Egos for drop bonuses here. Enemies will be mostly Assassins. Your Casters will do well against them, so consider bringing anyone with an AoE NP for wave clearing. I like Caster Ellie since she was free for anyone who played through the first Halloween event, but you can swap in whoever you have. Last year, the boss in the highest difficulty was Arjuna, which I expect to see again this year. The Fandom Wiki and Cyanopedia both list his class as Caster this time around, which seems a bit odd. I don't remember watching this rerun when it was live on the JP servers, so I can't confirm, but we'll probably be fighting a caster boss here, or maybe an archer still. If he is a caster, alter egos like Melt, Passion, and Kiara will do bonus damage against him. If he's an archer though, they're going to do reduced damage, so you'll want your strongest single target casters instead, like Sanzang. Finally, we'll be heading to the cave for Ishka Alloy. You want Knights of Marines and Pirates Party CEs, along with Riders and Avengers. Luckily, the enemies are all casters, so this isn't too tough. The best party features 2 AoE Riders for the first 2 waves, and a strong single target Rider for the 3rd wave. Some of the best options include Drake and Iskander for their AoEs, and Ozzy, Maeve, or Ketz for their single targets. If you haven't been lucky with your Saint Courts, you still have some solid choices here. Altria's Santa Altar was free for completing the almost weekly Santa event, which means a powerful NP5 Buster AoE Noble Phantasm for you. Even more recently, Rider Kintoki was free during the Onigashima event, which means an even more powerful NP5 Quick single target Noble Phantasm. Of course, you also have the option of bringing any of your powerful Avengers to help out. Servants like Jalter don't necessarily need class advantage to deal some serious single target damage. Last but not least, let's not forget about the best way to spend your materials. Completing the development quests as early as possible will let you unlock the best farming locations sooner rather than later. This means you'll want to complete Chapter 8 for the highest difficulty quests in Part 1 and Chapter 7 for the highest difficulty quests in Part 2. After this, it's probably best to grab the event CEs from the shop to boost farming even further before you start buying everything else you need from the shop. Don't forget, you also have the option of clearing your island after it's finished, so you can build alternate structures to unlock more cutscenes. You earn mana prisms for each new construction this way, but ultimately you'll have to decide if it's worth it to you to prioritize this over the shop. It depends a bit on what you need personally. I know I'll probably be focused on Meteor and Corona Poo first, but if this is your first time, or you didn't finish collecting Summer Skahak last time, don't forget to grab the bell branches from the shop in Part 1. If you have any questions about farming or team comps, leave them in the comments below. I do my best to read and respond to as many as I can, but I think there's also a lot of other helpful folks that like to provide advice there as well. Good luck with your summer farming, extra good luck to anyone rolling on these banners, and most of all, thanks for watching.